Alright, here's my 2,000 points of Eldar. It is pure Craftworld. So we're going to start on this side with the Ulthwe battalion. I have Eldred, a Warlock Skyrunner, and a Farseer Skyrunner. Behind them I have 10 Guardian Defenders in one squad, 20 Guardian Defenders in the next squad, and behind all those guys I have 2 units of 2 support weapons that are the Shadow Weaver variant. Also in this battalion I have a Wave Serpent with a Scatter Laser, Crystal Targeting Matrix, and a Shuriken Cannon. Moving over to the Biel-Tan battalion, I have everybody's favorite Avatar Arcane. I have Spirit Seer, who's going to have my free relic, which is the Spirit Stones of Anatholan, so he can reroll failed psychic checks. Behind them I have a unit of 8 Shining Spears, Exarch with a Star Lance, a unit of 10 Guardian Defenders, and 2 units of 5 Dire Avengers with an Exarch with double Avenger Shuriken Catapult. And then I've got 2 Wave Serpents that are all Shuriken Cannons, so a twin Shuriken Cannon on the top and a single Shuriken Cannon on the bottom. I think in this game I'm going to spend a command point to give my Farseer the +1 to Smite relic because Ryan has a lot of Deathwatch guys I want to smite. And that's my army. My Warlord is this Warlock Skyrunner, and I'm giving him the Warlord trait that he can reroll failed psychic checks, so he's going to be able to get +1 to his cast and reroll with some stratagem nonsense. That's like a pretty good combo. My secondaries are old school because I have a decent amount of sort of like mid-long range firepower, and hopefully I can kill some guardsmen on turn 1. I picked Recon because my army is pretty fast, and I have some deep strike stuff with like Rangers, and I can get up the board with the Wave Serpents. And I picked Headhunter because Ryan has a lot of characters. He's got 6 Assassins, a couple Deathwatch guys, a couple Guard guys, so hopefully I can pick up those points.
All right, and here is 2,000 points of the corniest Imperial soup that Connor has ever seen in his entire life. Starting off with the Deathwatch Battalion, got a Watch Captain with a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, got a Librarian with Force Sword and Bolt Pistol. He's going to know Null Zone and Psychic Fortress. 1 Veteran Squad with Power Axe, Power Sword, a bunch of Storm Bolters, and 1 Frag Cannon, and 1 Vanguard Veteran. Almost a carbon copy over here, except the Power Axe is a Power Maul. The Intercessor Squad, all these guys are going to have Assault Bolters. I got 3 Aggressors and 1 Inceptor. Moving on to the Imperial Guard Battalion. I've got the Warlord here. He's going to be a Tank Commander. He's going to know a Grand Strategist. I got a Field Commander here with the Hammer of Sunderits and Imperial Fist, or Emperor's Fist Tank Company. The 3 stock standard troop choices of Cannon Fodder Guardsmen. A Primaris Psyker with Psychic Bearer and Night Shroud. And that is them, and a maxed out Vanguard unit of 6 Assassins, 2 Vindicare, 2 Eversor, 2 Calexis, and 1 Calidus. This is going to be pretty gross. I hope that the Eldar can not shoot me off the board or smite me off the board, but we shall see. My secondaries are going to be Headhunter, Old School, and Recon, so come back to you with the deployment. And also my Watch Captain, I'm paying a 1 command point to give him the Beacon Angelus, so bring me to 10 CP for all the upgrades and all the other stuff. So, all right, and here is our deployment. On my side, I just got a Tank Commander with some Guardsmen over behind this. One of my Vindicares is up on this sandy knoll, and other Vindicares up in this building. Pretty good vantage point of like the rest of the battlefield going down the table there. 1 Veteran Squad here, the Intercessor Mixed Squad all in front of the characters. In front of them is another Guard Squad. Got another Guard Squad in the building on the bottom floor there, and my Tank Commander, that is the Warlord, over there. So, and 1 last guy, my Primaris Psyker, is cowering in the building, because we all know how he likes to blow himself up and not actually cast any spells. We got over here, Connor.
Well, I've got my Wave Serpents on the front line, hanging out the Avatar Arcane. I've got 2 support platforms in either of these ruins, and my Farseer and my Warlock in either of the ruins as well.
Nice.
I've got Guardians in Deep Strike, Big Blob Guardians in Deep Strike. I got Shining Spears in Deep Strike. I got Rangers in Deep Strike. in these Wave Serpents, I've got 10 Guardians in Eldrad, 10 Guardians solo, 2 units of 5 Dire Avengers, and a Spirit Seer.
Nice. Yeah.
So just kind of hoping to go first unless Ryan seizes.
Yeah, and in Deep Strike, I've got my 2 Eversors, my Calidus, and another veteran squad. So yeah, at this point, Connor's going first. He's banking on going first, but I'm going to try to seize the initiative on a 6.
2 up, he's a coward.
2 up, I'm always a coward. No!
This is not looking good for me.
Wow, but you still get to go first, so we'll come back to you after movement for the first turn.
All right, that's the end of turn 1. My movement's not the end of turn 1. That's the end of turn 1 movement. I move my 3 Wave Serpents over to this sort of middle area of the board. I'm looking at killing this guard squad behind this ruin, or behind this hill rather. Probably going to use the Wave Serpents to do that. I'm going to use the mortars to try to pick up another guard squad on the other end of the table. And then my primary concern for turn 2 is the Deathwatch squad coming in and shooting stuff up, but hopefully Ryan does that, and then I can pump him full of mortal wounds from my Farseer and like Eldrad and my Serpent Shields. So hopefully that would be a good trade. And he's also got his tank commanders that want to mess me up, which is scary. He's got 2 on the flanks. We're just going to see how it goes. So we'll get back to you at the end of the damage dealing part of the turn. And at the end of an epic psychic phase, I cast Doom on some guardsmen. And I cast Fortune on a Wave Serpent. And now we're going to shoot some guardsmen, baby. Woohoo! Cool, so I got the 10 guardsmen. I was not prepared for prepared positions plus take cover.
That sucks.
So the 3-up save was pretty hard to get through, but I did get the kill finally. I was hoping to ship some wounds into other guardsmen, but that did not happen. But it's cool. I got my kill. I got my old school, and we are rolling into the Deathwatch turn 1.
And movement for the Deathwatch on turn 1 is complete. Deathwatch and friends, just some friends. So, Captain and the Librarian both advance with their jetpacks. Pop the relic to bring up the veteran squad that was in the building up front with them. The guard squad over here just kind of advanced and strung out a bit. The primary psyker also advanced out of the building. He moved half to get into line of sight of some things down the field. Vindicare stood still. Vindicare stood still. These guys moved in advance, kind of strung out a little bit to kind of deny Deep Strike a little bit. This tank commander with the Hammer of Sunderance stood still, and all these guys moved and advanced. And that is all we've got. So come back to you with Psychic Phase. In the Psychic Phase, the Librarian over here got Psychic Fortress off onto this veteran squad, and the primary Psyker got Night Shroud over here, and he failed to get Null Zone for the 8,000th time that I've owned this model. Holy Christ. We'll come back to the shooting phase. Deathwatch shooting phase, and pretty much the turn is over. All of these veterans and the Intercessor Mix Squad over here just kind of focus fire, zigzagging between these 2 Wave Serpents that were here, trying to call the lightning fast reactions, and it eventually happened. And then the tank commanders just kind of finished the job and took out this Wave Serpent. All these dudes came out, only 1 died in the casualties. These skinks are guardians, and Eldrad is down to 3 wounds because the Vindicare clipped the top of his helmet. That's pretty much all I could do. Everything else, this Wave Serpent over here is down to 8 wounds, and now everything's kind of out in the open. So the first turn, I get a kill, I get hold more, I don't get kill more, and I get recon, and I think that's about it. So what did you get?
I got hold, kill, and old school.
Hold, kill, and old school for killing something in the first turn.
5 to 3.
5 to 3. So yeah, we'll come back to you with turn 2 for the Eldar.
End of Eldar movement phase 2. So I jumped out a bunch of Guardians to try to take some shots at these Deathwatch guys. Hopefully I can do some mortal wound stuff and take them out with that plus the Shuriken Fire. Move my Wave Serpents over here to get closest in line of sight to this Deathwatch squad right here. I moved around some of my support weapons to get some screening in my backfield so I can't get assassined. I moved my Avatar up on the side of the board over here I'm going to drop my Shining Spears in this area and hopefully get a sweet 6-inch rerollable charge onto this tank commander, because he's very fucking scary. We are going to drop the spears. We're going to try to smite these Deathwatch, and I'm pumped. So moving into dropping my dudes. I drop my Shining Spears on this flank within 6 inches of the Avatar. I'm going to do something I've never done before and use the Court of the Young King strat to give them +3 to their charge. It's going to be re-rollable because of the Avatar, so that's like pretty hype. That's a 6-inch charge on a deep strike, pretty pumped about that. And I dropped my Rangers in the backfield to screen out the Assassins, basically. So I have him, so he can't come in on this board edge right there. So the backfield's all screened off, unless I totally messed it up, which I don't think I did, but asking Ryan, he would say that I've done a lot of messing up in screens.
Looks great, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Don't double check it.
So we're going to double check it really quick and move on to the second phase. All right, so we did some good stuff. Ryan rolled really bad on his Psychic Fortress, and I killed like half the Deathwatch guys with Spite, which was awesome, because I'm very scared of them. I got all these Guardians who are going to hopefully shoot at these guys, and the second phase was pretty good. I got most of my powers off. Actually, I got every power off except for the one that he blocked, which was Jinx. So moving on to the shooting phase, hopefully we can pick up a Deathwatch squad, and I'm really just excited about this charge phase, because the Deer Spear, or what I call them, they are men riding horses, or the deer rather. Yeah. Men riding deer into battle. Hopefully they can charge this guy, unless I whip the charge. That would be really funny. I hope it doesn't happen. We'll see you later. Through the combined might of my Eldar people, I was able to kill this one Deathwatch squad. This Deathwatch squad is still kicking, which is sad, but you know, that's how it goes. Now we're doing the charge phase. I'm about to get into the charge phase and do the Deermen charging some guardsmen and touching that tank. It's gonna be sweet. Yeah, so that is basically the shooting phase. Just killed a Deathwatch squad. That's cool. All right. I made my sweet charge over here with the spears. They're gonna tie this tank up, and that's gonna be sweet. And then I made a charge over here with the Guardians to tri-tip this Calexis. And push my bubble out. I wanted to try tip the Calexis specifically so the Avatar can't get shot by anything next turn, because they are going to be closer to enemies in the Avatar, which is cool. No more charges, so we're just going to get into the spear situation, and we'll let you know how it goes. Thanks. So that went pretty good. They made the charge. They got the tank locked up. I took an objective with the Guardians from the Intercessors, and the Guardians are in combat. I'm curious to see what happens next, because he has a bunch of assassins that can come in and do stuff. I did just realize that I do not have enough CP left to fall back and do stuff with the spears, so that's kind of a problem. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll come back to you at the end of the Deathwatch turn.
Movement for the Deathwatch and all the other tanks and little guys is all done. The infantry squad here moved in advance to up. Not Astropath, the Primary Psyker also advanced over here. The Vindicator stood still. What was remaining of the infantry squad that was next to the tank moved in advance, got a 6, came over here. This tank commander stood still. The Eversor #1 came in over here, 9 inches away from the Shining Spears. The second Deathwatch veteran squad came in 9 inches away over here and on top of this objective. The Captain just moved up, 12. The Librarian advanced, so he can be within 6 to turn off some invulnerable saves, if I can ever get the power off. The Eversor came 9 inches away from this mortar squad inside the building, and my Calidus, she's technically right there, but wobbly modeler, and I didn't want to put her on something or she's going to fall over, so she's right there, 8 inches away from everything over in the center. The Deathwatch Intercessor Mix Squad moved up, and I think that is about it. So I'll come back to you with the Psychic phase. Wrap up the Psychic phase. Librarian got Null Zone off, but was denied on Psychic Fortress for these guys over here. And my Primary Psyker just did a smite for 2 mortal wounds onto the Guardian squad. And that's it. Let's come back to you with shooting. Turn 2, shooting for the wonderful Imperium soup party that we're having today. All these Deathwatch dudes, most of them unloaded onto the Rangers that were there, and one of them and the frag cannon unloaded onto the Wave Serpent that was there and took them both out. All of these mixed squad intercessors just blasted all of the Guardians in the center of the board. And I think between 2 Vindicares, I only got the Avatar over there down to 6 wounds, which is makes sense because I'm only wounded him on like 5s with the Exodus pistol or Exodus rifle. And that's, I think, about anything significant that I did. So we'll go into the charge phase and we'll come back to it. All right, the charging is wrapped up and Connor is really fucking bummed.
I'm so sad.
The Eversor made his charge into this mortar squad over here. The captain made his charge into the Farseer on bike.
Yes.
Farseer
Farseer
on jet bike. And Eldrad. The Calidus made her charge onto the other Farseer on bike. All of these guys over here charged into the Guardians. This infantry squad actually didn't advance, like I said earlier, but so they got a nice 10-inch charge on this and kind of wrapped around all of the Guardians that were left there. My Eversor made a charge into Shining Spears that are remaining over there. The Vindicare also went in. I guess my thinking on this is he's not going to do much against the characters that are left, so he may as well go in for the slap fight and see what happens. The Colexus is still wrapped up in combat, and I think that's about all we got, so come back to you after the fight. Combat's all done. The Eversor over here took out this platform and consolidated into the other one. The captain, since all these invul saves were turned off over here, the captain and the Calidus just kind of cleaned up these characters. Used the strat to get another CP back after the Calidus killed the one guy on the bike. The mess that was over here, these primary suits just slapped all these Guardians to death. The Colexus is still sitting in that building. All these guys just kind of consolidated closer to the Shining Spears. The Eversor in the corner over here took out only 2 Shining Spears, including the Sergeant. The Vindicare put a wound on another one, and in return they put 2 wounds on the Eversor. And I think that's all we got. So come back to turn 3 for the Craftworld Eldar.
Alright, we're going for the Hail Mary sort of play. We got the Avatar going at some Space Marines. Got the Guardians dropped in. Gonna try to make a charge and touch that tank, I guess. And then we got 2 Dire Avengers hopped out. Shoot some characters. Surf Showed over here, gonna Surf Show some characters. And yeah, it's looking pretty grim for the forces of good. You know, the evil, xenophobic humans, a weird racist stuff going on with the Imperium. I don't really know what's going on. It's pretty confusing if you ask me. Yeah, we're just gonna see what we can do, boys and girls. Woohoo! Alright, into Eldar turn 3. Went okay. I got a couple of characters over here. Got the captain and the Calidus with the might of my Dire Avengers and my Wave Serpent. And I made the big part of the turn is needed to make this charge over here. The Guardians stuck the charge after my last CP re-rolled it. And they trapped this guardsman in combat, so they can't get shot next turn anyway, which is pretty cool. And then the spears fell back from the tank, and they killed the Eversor, who then blew up, and then killed 2 spears, which was super gnarly. I touched this tank. I touched Super Tank again, which is good. So we're just going to see what happens. Right now, it's kind of like the tank and these Deathwatch versus like a bunch of useless Eldar guys. So we'll have to see if we can do anything to win the game. Thank you.
Turn 3 for the Deathwatch movement and psychic phase. Connor is still a very unhappy man. The librarian just flew over here. These guys stretched out, staying on the objective, but getting closer to the Wave Serpent. My Eversor stayed in combat. Over here, all these guys are locked up in combat and can't do anything, but the primary psyker moved up. The 3 remaining guardsmen moved into next to this objective.
What are they called?
Guardsmen, I'm not sure. This guy over here stood still because he's got a line of sight onto the Shining Spears. He fell back his full movement. The Vindicare just hopped up on this hill to get line of sight onto the Avatar, and my second Vindicare has line of sight on the Avatar. And I think that is about it. And the psychic phase, he did a super smite onto the Dire Avengers over there, taking them almost out, leaving the sergeant down to 1 wound, and got null zone on himself. And my poor primary psyker just can't cast anything. So I'll come back to you with the shooting phase. Turn 3 shooting is all wrapped up. Tank commander took out 3 of the Shining Spears.
3 of the Shining Spears.
3 Shining Spears, 1 remaining. He couldn't shoot because he fell back. None of these guys could really target anything because we're locked in combat here. The Vindicare, number 1 and 2, both went into the Avatar and took him down to 2 wounds. The Calexis also tried to use a Psych-Out grenade and his face gun against them, but didn't do anything. Or actually, he took 1 wound on that because it was AP-4. And the Librarian over here just did his bolt pistol into the remaining guy, took him out, the Dire Avenger. This whole squad of Deathwatch just unloaded onto the Wave Serpent and took it down to 7 wounds. And the Eversor over in the corner used his pistol and didn't do anything. So that is that. We will come back to you with charge. End of the 3rd turn for Deathwatch and Imperium stuff. The Eversor failed to do a single thing over here again. All these Deathwatch dudes charged the Wave Serpent and brought it down to 4 wounds. The Librarian flubbed really hard, made the charge, only got 1 attack that did 1 damage to go through, even with null zone, which is pretty awesome. And then the counterattack brought him down to 1 wound. The Calexis just got stomped, turned into like psychic putty. Dude like charged in and just got obliterated. No, look at Connor's so happy now. Look at that. As long as Connor's in a good mood, we're all okay. 3 guys died out of this, and I think that's about it, right? What else you killed? Yeah, so the end of the turn scoring now, I held more, Connor killed more, and now we're going into turn 4.
Sweet. Right, Eldar turn 4, we flew up here with our Shining Spear and didn't do any damage to the Vindicare and shooting. We killed the Librarian with the jetpack with the mortars. We killed like 1 Marine over here, maybe 2 Marines over here with some shooting and a smite. And we remained in combat with these Guardians. Gonna try to touch this tank in combat later. But we'll see how that goes, and we'll get back to you at the end of the fight phase. So the Guardians killed all the Guardsmen in combat, which is funny because they're skinks. And, they're ravenous beasts. But now the Guardians are very exposed to 2 tank commanders, which is scary town. The other charges happened. These guys were just kind of shooting, having a little gunfight over there. And the Spear came in and took 4 wounds off the Vindicare, which was cool. So now we're going into Ryan's turn 3. Interesting note. Turn 4. Interesting note here. I didn't see this until after I did my moves. I could have consolidated these Guardians you can see right here, kind of like up and swarmed them onto this hill, and I could have trapped this Vindicare in theory, which would have kept them alive for 1 more turn. I don't think it would have had a big impact on the game at large because Ryan is pretty far ahead on points, but it was just an interesting note. So yeah, we're going into the Deathwatch turn 4.
For my movement, I basically just fell back with these Guardsmen to expose all the Guardians. My Vindicare stayed in combat because he's got the Exodus pistol. The 2 tank commanders stood still because they are Cadians, so they can reroll 1s, and they'll do Pound of Dust. Just try to put as many bullets as I can into the Guardians. My Deathwatch strung out across 2 objectives here and got extra close to the Spirit Seer? Yeah. Spirit Seer. And my Eversor back in the corner stayed in combat. Lifelong combat that is never going to ever be resolved whatsoever. So, and my other Vindicare stood still up in the building. So come back to, and Psychic just did a smite onto the Guardians that did 2 mortal wounds. So come back to you with shooting. And turn 4 in its entirety is wrapped up. Basically just consolidated all this stuff into one big part. The Deathwatch dudes just shot the hell out of everything around the objective after they stretched out. The Eversor is still in combat forever and ever. Just took a single wound off this platform. The Guardians are still outnumbering my Guardsmen because they're fearless because of the Avatar. Avatar is still on 2 wounds, even though he got shot with the Vindicare again. Both tank commanders could not take all these guardians out. However, the score on this, the end of this turn is 20 my favor to 13. So there we're going to call it, because it's I think Connor's a little too far behind to really bring it back, and he's running out of a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was fun though. I think I definitely had a really good turn 2. I usually don't get all my charges off like that, which is like very helpful to me. I usually get none of my charges off, so that's very helpful for me. But yeah, Connor, what do you think? What did you have done better?
I think that there was one turn where the biggest thing I messed up in the game was command point management. It's always like hard to spend command points with the cows, making you spend more and you don't know when that would happen or not.
Yeah. There
was one point where the spears made their charge, and I had like 4. I spent like a command point to make their charge bigger, but then that only left me with 1 remaining. And then I need 2 command points for the spears to be able to fall back, shoot, and charge. So after that, they're functionally like useless. And even after that, there was a thing that I missed where I could have had unit guardians here on turn 2 that ended up charging the Colexis, and then kind of stretching out over here. I really should have made a attempt to cast Quicken for my spirits here on those guardians to double move them into Ryan's deployment zone. Because the thing that he did that was really that caught me off guard was he deep struck the Eversary's deployment zone and charged the spears. And the Eversary is like not amazing at killing spears, but it's like good enough at killing like 3 or 4 to really like mess up the unit. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the thing I really messed up, was the command point thing and not seeing that quick in play.
Right.
Probably some other stuff I could think about doing better, but in general, the thing I found playing the Eldar pure is it's super hard. It's really difficult to play.
It's very hard to play at pure anything, but yeah, pure Craftworld too.
I mean, pure Craftworld certainly like in a better spot than a lot of other pure stuff. I think the thing that I'm lacking in this list is some long range firepower.
Right.
Coming out of the wave servants just don't really do enough, because you can't give them all buffs.
Right.
And also the other big mistake I made was just giving Ryan like 3 characters at once. His turn 2, he killed Eldrad, a Farseer, and a Warlock.
Yeah.
Off charges and stuff.
Which is also the Warlord too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. Actually, it's 21. No, did you get first strike?
Yeah.
So it's 21.
So we have first strike, line breaker, and slay the Warlord.
Yeah. So.
And last strike, technically.
Yeah. So we. I'm thinking that I might play one more game with the Pure Craftworld, but I think I might have to, because I'm largely doing this because I don't have stuff painted.
Well,
I need to paint my Ravagers.
You certainly do.
And then I think I'll have a better shot taking out the Deathwatch.
Yeah.
Also not give away my Psychers for free.
Right, exactly. Well, cool. That was a fun game. Good practice for me. Usually Connor kicks the crap out of me. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.